Has trying to shoehorn data science work into an Agile framework ended in tears and bloodshed for you in the past? Hi, my name is Greg Spector and I have over 10 years of software delivery experience. You can find me on LinkedIn if you'd like to learn more about me or my background. What I'm about to share are some best practices that I've developed over the course of my career. This is not a standard industry framework. I encourage you to consider everything I'm suggesting and implement only those things that make sense to you, your team, and your project. I also suggest that you return to this video and consider the things you have not chosen to implement as your process matures over time and your needs change. A good place to start is defining what is meant by Agile. Agile is a philosophy focused on adaptation and flexibility. It's not a framework. The Agile Manifesto, which is the basis of the Agile philosophy, teaches that we value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiations, and responding to change over following a plan. Agile data science is the combination of data science practices with the Agile philosophy. When people hear the word Agile, they think Scrum, Kanban, XP, SAFe, Scrum at Scale, or a number of other frameworks. These are all frameworks that apply the Agile philosophy to varying degrees. What I've found to work best for data science teams, in most cases, is Kanban. I know there are data science teams that successfully use Scrum or another methodology. But in my experience, if you're not using any Agile methodology, Kanban will be a great place to start for a number of reasons. Number one, Kanban is less prescriptive than Scrum, which is why it lends itself well to open-ended work such as research and data science. More structured methodologies, such as Scrum or SAFe, often end up being too constrictive and mostly just get in the way. Another advantage of Kanban is that there are no fixed sprint durations, so teams can take on tasks of varying sizes. This is especially helpful while your team is getting used to a methodical way of working. In Kanban, teams are also able to reprioritize as they go without having to scrap the entire sprint and plan a new one, which is helpful in a rapidly changing environment or one with a lot of unknowns. Your work should be broken up into small increments to allow for rapid iteration and continuous value delivery. This is the essence of Agile methodologies. These increments are logged into a work tracking system, such as Jira, as tickets. Now, this part is critical. The tickets should be written as experiments. Each ticket should have a hypothesis with a clear pass-fail criteria. If the hypothesis is proven true or passes, a ticket or user story will be created for the implementation team, who will then prioritize it into their backlog and eventually implement it into the product. If the experiment fails, it could lead to new experiment tickets being created. Or the team could decide that the experiment should be set aside as there is no value in continuing with it. Assigning points, t-shirt sizes, or estimates, better known as sizing, to data science tasks can be very difficult, but it can also be very useful. It gets the team to think about how much work will be required and what goes into completing a specific task. Another option is to write tickets that are all approximately the same size, but that, again, would require the team to understand the nature of the work and size it. Time boxing is an effective alternative to sizing. The team should still discuss the work involved before deciding how much time they will allocate to it so that their estimate is as accurate as possible. If a task needs more time than initially allocated, you can borrow a technique from Lean Coffee. Bring the task and your progress to the team so they can evaluate your approach and weigh in on whether there is value in continuing or whether you're done. You and the team will estimate a new time box, which should ideally be less than the previous one. The Kanban methodology was developed by Toyota to standardize the flow of car parts through their just-in-time system. In Japanese, the word Kanban comes from two different words, kan, which means sign, and ban, which means board. The result is Signboard. There is no standard board design for data science. The simplest version of a Kanban board would have the following statuses: backlog, in progress, and done. If that works for your team, feel free to use it, or at least start with it. If your team wants to expand the in progress column to include other statuses, they definitely should. You will learn a lot about your workflow by having this conversation with your team and experimenting with different configurations. Another could be backlog, data collection, EDA, which means exploratory data analysis, model development, socialization, production, and finally done. Use these as a starting point for your discussions. When Agile methodologies were developed, data science wasn't as robust a discipline as it is now. None of the popular methodologies were designed to accommodate data science workflows, and neither were the safeguards. Here are a couple of things you should watch out for as you explore Agile data science. The absence of firm deadlines could lead teams to spend an excessive amount of time on tasks, wasting valuable resources and delaying the delivery of value. It's up to you and everyone on your team to make sure that they and others on the team stay on track and don't go down a rabbit hole. If you see something, say something. Incorporating customer or user feedback is critical to a healthy Agile process. You can learn more about that by reading about the OODA loop. It's a fascinating story and a very useful technique. Kanban doesn't have a sprint cadence, and therefore it doesn't have regular sprint reviews and demos. Building in a regularly scheduled demo cadence that is linked to the calendar rather than the sprint, say every 2 to 4 weeks, can ensure that your team is getting the valuable feedback they need. If the things I've said have resonated with you, and you want to share how your team has approached data science, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear how you've applied the Agile philosophy to your work in the past. If you don't agree with something I've said, put that in the comments too. No one of us is as smart as all of us. Thank you for watching. I will publish more videos that share the learnings I've collected over the years. Of course, as always, please hit like and subscribe. And if you're looking for help with Agile data science or Agile coaching in general, please reach out to me on LinkedIn or through my YouTube channel to schedule a class. I do classes both virtually and in person.